Okay, well here we are. We're going to take our mask off so that you truly recognize us. We welcome y'all to Cajun Pride Swamp Tours. Today Captain Tom and Captain Nolan going to go for a little ride down the bayou and see the alligators and take a look around the scenery. We've had no folks for well over a month now. And we all been social distancing with the mask and everything. Still got probably another month to go before we can do tours. But still we got to keep the swamp clean and keep the place going. Noel?
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, it's a second home to me and Tom. We stay here a lot.
Right. So as soon as the social distancing is over with, you come back and see us, come do a little visit with the tour. Also everything around the area to see, all the tourism areas, the plantations, all that's closed too right now until we can lift the restrictions. Come back and check us out when they do. The gators will be waiting. Noel?
Oh yeah, they'll be here.
There you go.
In the late 1800s and early 1900s, there was a Creole woman who lived here. A woman by the name of Julia Brown. Julia Brown loved the town of Fernandina. But Julia was a little different. She was a little strange. You see, Julia would often go into the city of New Orleans. She befriended Marie Laveau, known as the Voodoo Queen of New Orleans, and she began to practice voodoo. The people of Fernandina knew nothing about voodoo, and they got to the point where they were afraid of Julia, so they stayed away from her. But she was often seen sitting on her front porch singing and playing guitar. The song she sang contained a couple of lines that were disturbing to the people of Fernandina. One went, "When I die, I will take all of you with me." The other, "When I leave this earth, I will take the town of Fernandina." Well, Julia Brown died. She died September 28, 1915. September 29th, there was a funeral planned. A lot of people attended this funeral. See, they were afraid of Julia. They wanted to make sure she was gone. Well, the morning started off, it was a little windy. As they lowered Julia's coffin into the ground, winds began to increase and skies turned black. You see, a Category 3 hurricane had taken direct aim on the town of Fernandina. It was known as the Great West Indies Storm. This hurricane made landfall that night. Fernandina had a population of nearly 800. 22 people survived that night. Now, they had a problem. They had no lumber, no tools. They had no way to bury these people properly. So what they did, they went into the swamp. They would find a high piece of ground, dig a deep hole, and bury a number of bodies. I've been told there's anywhere between 5 and 50 bodies in these grave sites. One of the grave sites will be coming up as soon as we turn to the left. Okay, this is the gravesite on my left-hand side. The Sci-Fi Channel came out here about 5 years ago. They spent 2 nights in a swamp looking for ghosts. They said this is the most haunted swamp in the United States because of this hurricane. And they were able to spot a couple of ghosts. But I'm not sure how incredible this show is. It aired 4 years ago in July. The name of the show was Haunted Highways. The host was Jack Osborne, Ozzy Osbourne's kid. Yeah, I think he sees a lot of stuff. Now, Julia was buried on this high piece of ground, but that night the water got so high, her coffin floated, and it popped up on the ground. So she had to be reburied. Now, what they did, they moved her. They didn't want her with the people who were afraid of her. So they moved it down a canal a little ways. If you look on my left-hand side, about 30 foot from the water's edge, you notice a cross. That cross marks her gravesite.
What a cross.
And the Weather Channel came out here about 6 years ago. They did a documentary on this hurricane. It aired for the first time January of 2015. And it came on quite a few times a year. It would come on Sunday nights on the Weather Channel, a show called American Supernatural. I saw it a couple of times. Really well done. So you all about Julia Brown, the hurricane, the people who died, the voodoo. And it came on a bunch that year. You see, 2015 was the 100-year anniversary of the Great West Indies Storm. Also the 10-year anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. And it was 50 years since Hurricane Betsy, which also flooded a big portion of New Orleans. Now, let me show y'all something really cool. Let me show y'all around. You will be impressed. This is my house coming up on my left-hand side. Check it out. Yeah, look, I got Joe the Moonshine, I got cable TV. I hate to brag, but pretty much got it made. Now, I do admit the place could use a woman's touch, but I can't keep a girlfriend. They all went into a plumbing. They all spoiled. This is not my house. I had a lady on board a while back. She insisted I lived here. I told her, ma'am, I live in a subdivision. I have a 3-bedroom, 2-bed, brick home, 2-car garage. I live on a cul-de-sac. I drive a minivan. It's got a soccer mom on the back with it. And I have 2.3 children. So I'm average. I'm a statistic. You don't want to jump for you?
No, I see Mr. Maples over there too.
Oh, really? Over there. one of them coming, look. Come on.
There you go.
Is that him up there, Tom?
That's him by the bushes there. Come on, Shishoy.
Come on.
Yep, yep. Come on, come on. Yeah, man shack and more man shack management area. He's under the water there now, him.
Okay, I'm sorry, Andre.
Oh, there's some fish on it there. I guess we'll go back and try to feed the raccoon. How much time we got?
We got
Tom.
the 9:51.
Oh, there's a bird up here too. Maybe pull up by the great eagle. Look. And let him get a picture of that. Nice great egret there, look.
On the left-hand side, the big white bird is a great egret, the largest of the egret family. We have three different egrets here. Great egret, the largest, snowy egret, the smallest, and we have what's called a cattle egret, a cowbird if you're from Texas. Okay, let me tell you a story about Cajun. I'm a Cajun. A family from a little town called LaRose. LaRose is about 75 miles southwest of New Orleans on Bayou Lafourche. Cajuns originally were from France. Cajuns were a bunch of prisoners, political troublemakers. They were gathered together in 1604 and exiled from France to Nova Scotia. At that time it was known as Acadia or Acadie. Look at the crow, she wants a marshmallow. There's a tree right there, look. She don't want to go in the water anymore.
You gotta go by the graveyard and feed her probably.
Yeah. The area they settled in, they worked the ground really hard and became very rich and valuable. The British took over Canada. They had quite a few disagreements with the Cajuns. They wanted the Cajuns to change religion. They wouldn't do it. They wanted the Cajuns to pledge allegiance to the king and queen. They wouldn't do that. And the land had become valuable, so they decided to take the land back. They ran the Cajuns out of Nova Scotia to the east coast of the United States. There they weren't accepted. Finally, they made their way to Louisiana, where they were accepted by the French. Louisiana was first inhabited by French. Now, once in Louisiana, they moved to the city of New Orleans. Look, she's right there, Tom. If you throw her on land right there. There she goes. Once in Louisiana, they moved to the city of New Orleans. New Orleans was a bunch of Creoles. The Creoles didn't care for the Cajuns. They ran them out of the city to the low-lying areas of the state, along the bayous and rivers. There they befriended the Indians. They taught the Indians how to farm. The Indians taught the Cajuns how to hunt, fish, and trap. Until today, a large percentage of the Cajun population still lives along the bayous and rivers. A lot of them make their living hunting, fishing, trapping. I would say a majority make their living on the water. Tugboats, trawl boats, or in the oil field. My entire family worked all of their lives on tugboats, except for me. You see, when I was 13 years old, my daddy bought a tugboat. I was a big boy and he needed help a lot of times. So he would take me out of school and put me on a boat. He didn't believe in education. Well, I hated it. All my friends were in school playing baseball and football. They were having a good old time. And I was stuck on a tugboat. Never could keep a girlfriend. Let me tell you what happens. You get a girlfriend, then you have to go work on a boat for 2 weeks. Well, you know how women are. And they'll be dating somebody before you get back. It was horrible. And one girlfriend got married. I went on a boat for 2 weeks to come home, she was married. I couldn't believe it. Oh, I broke my little fat heart. But I did it. I worked on a boat for 10 years. At 23, moved to New Orleans, became a New Orleans fireman. I was a fireman for 21 years, retired in 96, and now I'm back on a boat. But you see this little town of La Rose. Till today, things are different. Till today, La Rose might have 3 traffic lights. Now, a lot of them boys on the bayou, they talk with a strong Cajun accent, like Tom. And a lot of them speak what's called Cajun French. My grandma and grandpa, they spoke mostly Cajun French. Very little English. My mom and dad spoke both.
The deer and pigs come up too sometimes. And we got a little bit of everything. Oh, we feed them, no matter who comes out, a little bit of everything to feed with. A little bit of feed. Yeah.
Tell me when you want to move. I can
Good.
move.
We gotta go back.
You gotta go back now?
Now, my generation, a lot of us don't know Cajun French. You see, when I was a kid, a lot of people would try to hide the fact that they were Cajun. The teachers wouldn't teach it in school, and they would discourage your parents from speaking French around the house. Well, things have changed. They're no longer ashamed of their heritage. French is taught in school and is spoken freely around the homes. Now, I don't know much of this Cajun French. There's not a lot of people that do. The last estimate, there were 23,000 people who claimed to speak Cajun French. The language is dying, and there's little chance it will ever come back. It's a lot different than French. And there were no textbooks till 1993. A priest by the name of Father Daigle from Houma, Louisiana, first come up with textbooks, tapes, and dictionary for Cajun French. Before that, it wasn't in print. Now, I went and bought them, and I've been trying to learn. I'm having a hard time learning. You see, I'm 68 years old, and I drink a lot. And there's just so many hours in a day, you know. We got priorities. Time to go back, Tom?
Yeah.
I'll be back in about 2 or 3 minutes.
Time to make some world famous Spud Man on doing sausage. Let's roll, baby. Tonight, we're gonna learn the difference between a good sausage and a sausage. And we're gonna learn the difference between great andouille and that stuff out in the world they call Cajun andouille. So, everybody hang tight. It's gonna be a good one tonight. All right. So, after 27 years of doing this and still learning, we're gonna bring it together and find the right way to make andouille and the right way to make sausage. And there's so much bad product out there, and people all over the United States, I want to say, that want to be us. They want to be us Cajuns. They want to be us German coast people. The Germans who bought this sausage over here. You know, the German sausage with a French name. Because when the Germans came in, they talked German. But they started settling along the German coast with the French. And I think that they started falling in love with the fine French women and started talking French and forgot their German language. And pretty soon everybody was talking French and we all kind of blended together. But it was the Germans who brought the sausage over, the sausage and the andouille. And of course the French make it a little different way. We're going to get into all that tonight. Another thing Germans were famous for. Germans were the beer makers, baby. I call them the happy sausage makers. So, what is andouille? And what is sausage? Okay, so andouille, I'm going to give you a lot of definitions of andouille. Andouille in French means stupid. Making sausage at a plantation one time, and the lady passed by, she said, you know what andouille means? I don't know. She said it means stupid. So I thought she was calling me stupid, but she wasn't. And I had to kind of like make like I was laughing, but I was scared. But here's the different things that andouille can stand for: dummy, prat, sap, goat, mug, noodle, twerk, numbskull, goof, mutt, gander. So I don't know about all these words, and we're not gonna pay attention to it tonight. You know what we're gonna call andouille? Damn good. All right. Now, what is the difference between a good andouille and a bad andouille? You have a lot of parts to it. You have the meat you use. You have the seasoning you use. You have the real or artificial flavors you use. But the main thing is the smoking. I'm going to show you how I make my andouille tonight. I have no problem. Everybody said, man, you're giving away your secret. It's not a secret. We do the Cajun cooking experience where people actually come in my kitchen and they actually make this andouille. They mix it. They see how I mix it. They put their hands on and they make it. They get the feel of nasty old slimy casing. You know, they go, oh yeah, but it's fun. And then but the art of smoking. Smoking is an art. And everybody looks at it, they go buy these little smokers and they're gonna smoke at their house. And of course when they do it, it's good because they did it. But actually smoking, over 26 years of smoking product, I'm still learning. It's truly an art. It's not something that you just throw in the fire and go. Temperature plays a difference. If you have humid weather outside, you think about this. Andouille is going to be wet because your pork has a lot of water, your casing has a lot of water. And if you don't dry that casing out. Let's say it's a humid day, got 100% humidity, which we very seldom get in Louisiana, right? And you got to put that stuff on a smoker. That smoke's got to penetrate, and it's got to try to get through that moisture and wet. It's wet outside, it's wet inside. You get a bad smoke. You're still going to get it. You're going to have to put more heat to it to dry it out, to let the smoke penetrate. So the more heat you put to it, the more you cook it, the drier it gets. And of course, if you sell it, the less money you make, okay? That's the bottom line. If it's hot outside, your 100-degree summers with 90% humidity, you better know what you're doing, or you're gonna burn that on the oil. So you gotta adjust your temperature. It's about temperature and it's about smoke, and it's about time. So every day that I smoke, I have to know what I'm against, the elements, and I have to play that. That's the art of it. In 27 years, believe me, I'm still learning it. Now, the meat, I'm gonna show y'all the meat I use. Look at this meat, and you're gonna see it's very lean. There's not any fat on it, okay? This is what andouille is. It's a meat, it's a very lean pork that's chopped, not ground up fine, that you're gonna stuff in the casing. And we're gonna mix some of this, and I'll let you see the chopped version of it. But if you look at this, we don't have any trash on it. Now, some people use Boston butt that'll have a little bit more fat on it. I use cushion meat. I trim all the fat off, and I'll use the fat. I buy it lean, but if I have some with fat on it, I'll trim it with some meat and I'll put it in my sausage, because that's what sausage is. Sausage was a way to use your waste in the butcher shop. It was a way to get rid of your scraps, because you pay for that cow. If you paid, you pay 50 cents a pound for that cow on the hoof. Everything you throw away, you're throwing away 50 cents, and it's cutting in your profit. So they would use that to make sausage. There's different ways to make sausage, and the more scrap you put in it, the more money you make, and the worse product you have. If you use Boston butt, and it's good. Boston butt makes excellent andouille. It's got an awesome taste to it. But if you don't trim it enough, you'll get balls of fat in it. And the balls of fat to me like chewing a bad bubble gum, because you're chopping this meat. There's nothing wrong with it. If you like it that way, that's great. I think it's fantastic. It's just my personal preference not to have that. So let's get this on the side.
And Scotty, before we get further, is cushion meat the same thing as temple meat?
Okay, Kat. Hey, Kat. So Kat wants to know if cushion meat's the same as temple meat. I've used temple meat before, and one time, and it was getting hard to get. It's not. So the cushion comes. You get the picnic shoulder, and you get the shoulder. You get the Boston butt off of that picnic shoulder. But deep inside that shoulder, you got that little picnic horn that they call a cushion. I don't know if you see it too much in the retail market. It's something we buy more on the wholesale side that we use. But I don't see it too much in the retail side. It would be more like using more like a pork loin than a temple meat. But the temple meat works great. The temple meat works good because it's very lean. It's just that you only have so much meat on a temple of a hog. Now, let's step back. Oh, by the way, keep in mind what we're going to be making, because this is going to be the end product. This smoked 12 hours today. I put this on at 6 o'clock this morning. I took it off 6 o'clock tonight. So this is a 12-hour smoke. And let me tell you, if you put something smoking for 12 hours and you don't know what you're doing, I can make this, it'd be half the size of this. So you really have to know what you're doing, and that's the art of smoking.
Okay, Scotty, what's the difference between the meat that you use and what you buy in the grocery store?
So the meat that I use and the meat you buy in the grocery store. If I wanted to make andouille and I wanted to buy some meat in the grocery store, if I couldn't find cushion, I couldn't find temple, you can use Boston butt. Boston butt's got a little more marble in it, makes a great andouille. But you're gonna have a lot of waste. You're gonna be trimming a lot of the fat off. Now, if you're gonna make some sausage after, that's fine. Or you can trim the fat off and cook it down and make some hog loin. You can do that with it. So it's not that it really go to waste. So if you want to trim all that fat off and then make it some crackling so you can have some hog loin, that would be great. And it does make a good. Now, if I had to go to the grocery store, that'd probably be what I have to use. Pork loins might be a little bit. If you catch them on sale, it's fine. But I know a lot of times the pork loins are pretty expensive. But that would be a good meat. Anything real lean. But and I don't know if they sell cushion meat in the supermarkets. Some may do if they make andouille and they may sell it to you. One of the things that you go step back in the day, when they were on the plantation, go from the African Americans that were enslaved, go to the overseers who used Cajun or German, they were making on do it. They were putting this in it. This is tripe, la ponce. And they would boil this, chop it up fine. This is what I've done. This is boiled ponce that I've chopped up fine, and you would blend it with that on do it. When I first got here, there were a group of African American ladies that every year we made a batch of ponce. It was about 10 ladies, and we made it for them. Well, they're all going now, and as we move down generations, it's pretty much a dead thing. People don't want it anymore. But it makes a great on do it. And Ruby Charles, African American lady, used to cook for me. She made one time, and she made a madeleine. And we're gonna see those after a while. And she put it with ponce in it, a lot of garlic, and just seasoned it up, which is unbelievable. And she went through the airport, and it was in the luggage. This is before 9/11 now. All the inspectors came because they could smell it before she opened the suitcase, but they wanted to know what the hell that thing was. And it was a big on-do she made. She was taking on a trip to Florida with some relatives. So, you know, it was a big old madeleine she had. I call it madeleine like an on-do on steroids because it's all big. You know, working out got the muscle. On-do got the rock. Big madeleine. So this is the ponce, and they're using this. Some people make salads with it. Some people cook it down. I'm not sure of all the ways to cook it. I can tell you there's a good flavor. And then if you get the ponce that's not clean, makes good crab bait. Okay, so that's on do it. That's the way we make it. Let's go to France. They got something called, they got andouille and they got andouille. Andouille would be the small case of andouille. Something very popular in France is they put tripe in it, they put some chicken in it, like the small intestine, and they're basically putting gut in it. And I read some articles on it. I've talked to some people from France that say it's good. That's what they say. But, so some of the articles I read, they said, if it's made with the colon and you have that gut in it, if you can get through the smell, because it has this bowel smell, I guess, then you can, once you get used to the smell, you'll learn to like it. I've talked to people that have gone to France and they said there's nothing good about it, but I've talked to people that live in France and they love it. It's just another way they make andouille. They also make our traditional andouille, probably not quite like us, a little bit more fatty, you know. So, but you can get it in France. I just found it interesting, the andouille and the andouillette, that the difference in that, and just making it with guts, basically spare parts. But they like it. It works. So there's no right or wrong in it. Let's talk about sausage a little bit now. Sausage is, so there's your sausage meat. And sausage is ground. It's ground up pork. Or you can have beef and pork. Some people make a sausage. This is more like country sausage when it's just pork. If you put beef and pork, you know, you would have a higher scale, better tasting sausage. See how the meat's ground fine? Now, I can take this pork for this sausage, and I can put anything I want in it. Because passing it through a grinder, I can hide anything in it. So there's a lot of, you can put a lot of scrap. You can put fillers. They use soy fillers and other kind of fillers. Explain the smoking process a little bit. When I'm going to smoke this, it's going to lose water. Smother down some pork and you'll see it throw a lot of water. That's all going on my smoker's waste. When you make that sausage, that sausage is going to throw a lot of water. But if you put you put a lot of water in it, remember, water's money now. A lot of money being made with water in the world. And you put a lot of water, and then you put, all sausages going to have water to mix it. We'll see that in a little bit. And you put some of the fillers in it, some of the soy fillers, it bottles up that water. It grabs that water, so when it smokes, it doesn't lose any weight. So it's a good way to make money. I'll never do that. If I have to start doing that to make money, I'm going to make my own sausage and never sell it again. Because I just want meat. I want pork, salt, pepper. That's it.
What size blade do you use, or size plate to grind the sausage?
Ah, good question. Who's that, Nate?
Ronald Lou.
Okay, Ronald. Here's my blade for the sausage, and I'm going to give you an idea. This is, I'm not sure the size, but it's not a fine grind, and it's not a real big grind. This is kind of like a middle-sized plate. This is what I use for the sausage. Now, give me an example of sausages on the market. You can have sausages costing as much as $8 a pound, $9 a pound, all the way down to $3.99 a pound. And I found a lot of them. Here's one. Now, I'm not going to mention any brands. Pork beef water, salt, less than 2% of corn syrup, potassium lactate, spices, paprika, dextrose. Dextrose has about 20 side effects, but they're using it in sausage. Natural flavors. In the world of natural flavors, there's so many things that can fall under natural flavors. I really don't know what the definition of natural flavors are. Natural flavors to me is if I take a lemon and suck on a lemon or eat an orange. That's a natural flavor. But that's not what this is. Sodium diacetate, onion powder, dehydrated garlic, sodium ethylbate, sodium nitrate, beef collagen casein. That's the casein. That's a lot of ingredients to make sausage. Also increases profit. Another one. Here's one. This is a homemade, you know that andouille, you know that Cajun andouille they got in the world? I'm looking at this, the same ingredients, the same exact ingredients. They call it Cajun andouille also. So they might add a little bit more spice, they might add a little bit more pepper. But they're taking the same thing that they call sausage, and now they're calling it andouille. Here's a smoked sausage, here's another smoked sausage. Water, salt, pork, corn syrup, spices, paprika, that potassium lactate, dextrose, natural flavors, sodium something something, dehydrated garlic, onion powder, another sodium something something, another sodium something something, and a collagen casein. The more ingredients you have in that sausage, the more it's just not good for you. It's the less pure, but it's worse for your body. It's worse for your health. So here's the on now. Let's talk about andouille. I'm going to show you the difference. Let's get a little closer to the camera. There's a little andouille meat right here. If you can see, it's in chunks. It's in little balls of meat. What they would do, they would sit down in a boucherie and cut this up in little chunks. These were clean pieces of meat that they would actually stuff in a casing. And the hog, of course, they would use the large intestine. And they would smoke that. What was the reason for smoking? We smoke because we like the taste of smoke. They smoked to preserve the meat. It was a way to preserve their meats. After they made that andouille, that was their stuffer. I got a big fancy stuffer back here. This was their stuffer. They put that casing on here, and they would take it. They had that little V right here, so it doesn't cut your finger. So if it didn't have the V, that was a funnel. If it had a V, it cost $1 more, and it was a sausage stuffer. I made that up now. And then you just put your meat in here, andouille meat, sausage, and you would just push it through. See? That's how they stuff casing. So imagine stuffing, making andouille or making sausage with a bunch of people sitting around doing this. You got to think about the boucherie. It's more like a community project. When you kill that hog, everybody had a job. And at the end, everybody got something. Because next week we're doing the boucherie at your house. And we all coming over. So it was a big community project. And everybody had a part. Some people were cooking the back fat to make lard. That was their job. Some people were stuffing the casing. Some people, everybody had a little job, and they were proud of their job. They took a lot of pride when they did these boucheries. Okay, let's go to the sausage, okay? Here's your sausage. It's ground beef. It's ground pork. Like I said, you can grind up a little beef in it if you want, and make it a better sausage if that's what you like. It's going to raise your costs up. This, like I said, I can put anything in here. If you're going to go get andouille, we're going to see the ingredients in a few minutes of andouille. We're going to mix them up. they have more ingredients than that, then you have to start questioning whether it's really on do it. If they're not chopping the meat, if they're grinding the meat, it's not on do it, it's sausage, I'm sorry. I find that once you get away from the German coast, we have a lot of great on do it along the German coast. St. Charles Parish, St. John Parish, St. James Parish, getting into Ascension Parish, even there. We have some great on do it. These traditions are passed down since the time the Germans came here. These are all passed down. This was passed down to me. I wasn't born with this. And we need to keep passing these down. That's one of my reasons for doing this tonight. Pass this tradition on. I want people to learn it. I want our traditions to continue when we're going one day. So.
Do you use MSG in your?
No. Okay, good question. Who's that, Elaine?
Elizabeth Simino.
Elizabeth Simino. Do I use MSG? Never. Don't have it in the place? I can tell you right now, if you have MSG, run. Get away. Don't buy it. Okay? It's causing us health-wise a lot of problems. It enhances flavor. When they say flavor enhancer, like a accent, boy, does it enhance flavor. But man, it is. Some people have migraines on it. I would cramp up when I ate it. I would always cramp up. Any kind of preservative, but MSG was a killer.
It's funny, you're talking about the sausage. Ronald wants to know, can you expand on venison sausage?
Okay, Ronald. Ronald wants to know about venison sausage. Venison is deer. So I get deer during hunting season. People bring me deer, and I'll usually mix it 50% deer, 50% pork. Now some people want it 60-40. Some people want it 70-30. I make it according to your what you like. But venison is very lean. It doesn't have a lot of fat or marble in it. So we're getting, you have to mix some pork in it, some fat pork in it. So for venison, you want the Boston butt. You want something like a boneless picnic that would have more fat. Because you need that fat to give it some flavor, or you're going to have a dry sausage. Now, one of the things about sausage, people ask me, well, I have health issues and I can't eat sausage for whatever reason. You know something? I've had people come to me and say, I can't have salt anymore. I can't have whatever it is anymore. I make the sausage, gotta make it in a 30-pound batch because that's what this holds, and I'll make them a batch of sausage, whether it's venison sausage, smoked sausage, on do it, according to what they can eat. Why should they have to give up eating what they really like and cooking with their favorite sausage on do it? Why should they have to give that up? We can make it and fit that need. And because when you're gonna cook this, when you're gonna use this in your food, you know what's the flavor? The smoke. The smoke is actually what's giving you the flavor. Yeah, you want a little seasoning in it, but I can not season this and put it in my gumbo, get that smoke flavor. And of course, you know, if I have the heart issues or I have fluid issues or kidney issues, I've learned not to eat with salt anymore. So you can adjust this, okay? And we don't put a whole lot of salt in it on do it, but I'll tell you what, when I make on gumbo and I put on do it sausage in it, I know my on do it sausage. If I put the right amount, the gumbo seasoned perfect because it's throwing out just the right amount of flavors. That's something.
Yeah, you showed them the blade that you use for the sausage. Show them the one for the on do it. Show them the difference.
All right. So the blade for on do it, it's got two blades. See the holes? And that's going to help it to get chopped. Another way, you know, and look, if you're making small batches, you can make a small batch of on do it. Get your little casing, cut it up, get your hand stuffer. There's nothing wrong with that. One of those little crank stuffers. Man, go into your man cave or she shed and go out there and start and get your little chopping board and cut up your pork that you want to do. Mix it up, season it, and get your little stuff in. Put you some good music on. I can give you some good swamp out, and then just make your own on do it sausage. Now the thing is gonna be the smoking, but you can make your own fresh sausage if you want. And you don't, if you don't have the grinder, just keep chopping it. Take a knife, something like this, and put the meat in your chopping board, cut it, and just keep chopping it. Just keep chopping it like that. Kind of getting the rhythm. Well, if you got a little music on, you can be like shaking it on down and getting down with it. Oh yeah, that's what it's all about, you know. So let's talk about on do it. I have these precise measurements. I have these precise measuring tools This is an old oyster bucket. I cut it. You can see it's all ragged. I know how much this thing weighs, and I know how much seasoning to put in. If I lose this bucket, I'm gonna quit making on do. I'm gonna sit down and cry. So look in this bucket. I have red pepper. I could put black pepper. Like I said, we have a lot of people can't have black pepper, so I let them cook with their black pepper. I don't put them on do it. If I was making it for me, oh hell yeah, I put the black pepper. Some salt. Okay, let's talk about the pink stuff. This pink stuff is nitrite. If you ever go and you're shopping and you see this pack of turkey on the shelf, and it's, it expires in 6 months, it's loaded with nitrite. It's a preservative. We have to put it in. That's required by the Board of Health. That's I think that's even a federal regulation. That's something that we smoke. We have to put it in. Okay. And I believe this is measured. I don't want too much of this. So I take this salt. I take this seasoning, mix it up real good. No water. I don't want any water in my andouille. And I'm just going to season this. No breadcrumbs. So andouille is gluten free. People that are gluten sensitive or just don't like to eat gluten. It is gluten free.
I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but Thomas Wagisback wants to know what temperature do you smoke sausage at from beginning to end?
Okay, Thomas Wagisback wants to know what temperature do I smoke sausage at from the beginning to the end? Depends on what the temperature is outside and the humidity is. So, like today, I'd have gone 200 degrees for an hour and a half, shut it all down, turn everything off, throw some logs in, and let it smoke. Now I have a big rotisserie smoker. I have a Southern Pride rotisserie smoker. I've got a bad boy. I'm not gonna lie, this thing is bad. So I'm not hanging. I had the old kind with the wood and the burner. That's harder. That's harder, and you have to just know your smoker. You have to try to maintain that temperature and for so long, and then remember, the longer you put heat to it, the more you're reducing it, okay? You need a little heat to it so that smoke can start penetrating it. You're gonna get some of that moisture out. So if you look at this, salt, pepper, and a little cure. Now, let's go step back. Our ancestors, they would have made this. You know what they'd have done with this after they made it? They would have hung it outside. They were gonna let it add, because remember, they're making this in the wintertime. Let's remember, they're doing boucherie in the wintertime. So they can hang that outside, let the cool air blow through it, and then they were smoking. Their smoke was intense. If you go to St. John Parish, I find they more like the old time smokers. They had the cypress smoke houses, and the people up on the East Bank like a harder smoke than the people on the West Bank. When I was living in St. Rose, we bought the andouille made in La Place. It was heavy. Well, I was used to it. Then when I got over here, I remember saying, "Oh man, this stuff's not smoked." But now I got used to it, and I can't go back the other way. So it's what you're used to and what you grew up with, okay? And there's no right way or wrong way. It's the one that you like the best. But I can tell you what, they're all good. Now, if you come ask all of us who makes the best andouille, of course I'll make the best. I'd be crazy to say I didn't, but I'll tell you everybody else is good. If you ask any of them, they tell you I'll make the best, they got to close up shop. They should be making the best. And this is what we do. Now I got a big mixer in the back. I can mix 100 pounds at a time. This is a little 25-pound batch, and this meat is cold. I usually have me a little bucket of hot water right here. Okay? Then you mix this up. How do I know if it's seasoned right? How do I know that? When Miss Eileen and Mr. Peanut used to be with me, Miss Eileen was the tester. This is what she did. It's good. That's your test.
What kind of wood do you use to smoke?
What kind of wood I use? Who's that name?
Marlene Bye.
Marlene wants to know what kind of wood I use to smoke pecan. Pecan or oak, but just remember this. If you eat the fruit of the tree and it doesn't kill you, you probably can smoke with it. In this area, pecan to me is the best. I used some hickory one time, somebody bought from Alabama. It's good. It's good. You got to be careful with hickory. It's very powerful, but it makes a good smoke. So there's a lot of good woods out there, but I like pecan out here. If I can't get pecan, I'll use oak. The oak is not bad. It's really not bad. So that's all I want to do it. And we're gonna tell you what. Before we mix the sausage, We're gonna load the andouille up. Now, when I was tasting, that taste I did, that's how I know how I like my andouille. People ask me, how do you know? It's your andouille. If you make it the way you like. This is what being Cajun's about.
Okay, Smarty, why don't you put water in your andouille?
Why don't I put water in my andouille? Because, so the andouille, I can mix real good because it's chopped. I get my hands in there and I can mix it. When you're doing with that ground meat, that sausage, it's being ground like that, it's really hard to get a good mixture on it. So, and be honest with you, it's the way I was taught. I was taught that you don't put water in andouille. Now, if I was grinding it up, promise you, the people that are taking the sausage and making andouille, take the sausage, put it in the pack, add some paprika and some pepper and all that, whatever you want to do, call it Cajun andouille. I promise you those have water. Make a lot of money with it. But it's not andouille. And it really makes me mad. I get really angry when I see that. I don't care if you call it andouille. Don't call it Cajun andouille. Give it another name. Whatever state you're in, wherever you live at, give it that name. Now, if y'all agree with that, give me some little hearts and thumbs up.
Okay, do you ever make sugar cane or corn cob with pecan wood?
Do you ever mix sugar cane or corn cob with pecan wood? Well, we used to be able to go inside the road doing grinding, and they had them whole stalks of sugar. Oh yeah, look at all the loving I'm getting now. Y'all agree with me? So we get all them stalks of sugar cane. But farmers are so efficient now with the new method of the chop. They don't put any sugar cane on the side of the road anymore for me. They don't love me no more. I don't know why. But, you know, they don't waste any sugar cane anymore. Let me tell you like that. So that's why we don't get them anymore. Corn cobs, if we get somebody that had a garden and wanted to give me some corn cobs, oh yeah, we use it. Yes, indeed. That all helps. And we used to actually put a little brown sugar, believe it or not, on the on the fire. And I never knew the reason for that. You know, I just like, okay, I don't know the reason for that. I'm not gonna do it anymore.
Okay, Spotty, when you're using natural pork casings, how do you keep the casing from being tough? Ronald Moray.
Okay, Ronald wants to know, I use natural pork casing. How do I stop the casing from being tough? So, when I'm cooking sausage, I'll be honest with you, it's the cooking process. I can cook it long enough where the casing's not tough. If it is tough, I don't know why. I don't understand why it is. So I cook fresh sausage every Monday. Well, I did every Monday while we were, before COVID and all that. I had my fresh sausage every Monday. I put that fresh sausage on at 6 o'clock in the morning. It stayed on to 9 o'clock. Once I browned it, and we're gonna cook some fresh sausage one night. And I'm gonna show you how. You're gonna understand better when we do a little fresh sausage one night. And so I'll show you how to smother that down. And it's all about the cooking process, more than anything in the world. So it's not really the casing, if you get a tough casing, but there's two kinds of casing. You have the natural casing, okay? And then you have the fibrous casing. What's happening, last time I bought casing, this is what's happening. The big companies are buying out the little companies. Now, their minimums, I needed 1 case of beef middles, and I'll show you what that is in a little while. And they said, no, you need $500 order. I had to order a ton of casing I didn't need just so I can get those beef middles because nobody else sells them. So a lot of people, what they're doing when they're small, they go into the artificial casing because the natural casing is just getting harder for the little people to be able to get it. Okay? So that's what's happening in the market with that. And then artificial casing is probably going to cook a little tougher. That one you probably have to split off after you eat it. I'm not real familiar with it because I've never used it. But it won't hurt you. I know that. Okay. Another thing about real casing is a few years ago we had a hard time getting casing because there was something going on with the pigs in the world, and we couldn't get any casing. We just couldn't get it. So we had to wait like weeks and hope we got it. And so anytime you have a cow disease, they had a lot of mad cows going around at one time. Anytime you get these diseases, that affects us on this casing that we get. You know, it always happens at the time we need it to make andouille sausage around Christmas. That's when it always happens. It's just amazing. I think they planned that. Let me get this water right here. So here's your sausage casing. Remember I said about the water, okay? Here's the trick. How much water I want to put in? It just depends. Remember, you make money with water. The only reason I'm putting water is to be able to mix it better. I don't want to come back and put a lot of breadcrumbs in my sausage. I really don't. I'll put as little as possible, and if I hit this water right, I'll put none, okay? But I may have to put a little bit. Again, salt, red pepper. This is gonna be a fresh sausage, so I didn't put any cure in it. What's the difference between fresh and smoked? Smoked, I'm gonna put the cure in it because I have to smoke it. But in this case, I'm not gonna, I'm making it fresh. This is the fresh sausage I would serve on my lunches. I'll sell you when you come over here. This is what we're gonna make tonight. Like I said, there's no fillers in it. There's no trash in it. Okay. Mix this up real good. Now, almost every sausage recipe has sugar in it. If that's what you like, that's fine. Just not my style of doing it. But if you like sugar in your sausage, man, you making it. It's good. It's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. And you see how it blends. All this season is going to blend together better because it's wet. So I can season it better. And I'm going to show you a trick with the breadcrumbs, how you know you have it mixed well. Here's the most important part. If you don't do this right, you're going to have sausage, you're going to bite a piece, might be bland. You're going to bite a piece that's going to go, whoo, light you up. So you got to make it consistent.
Hey, Kim, what kind of wine you drinking tonight?
So Kim, I'm not drinking wine, I'm drinking a candy French farmhouse beer. Because you know when you're making sausage, like I drank wine the other night because it was Italian wine and Italian go together. But you know, when I'm in my little man shed, or if Elaine goes to her she shed and she wants to make sausage, I'm gonna film that one when she does. But I'm gonna drink a beer. You know? I don't know, wine and sausage making just don't get it to me. I gotta drink me a beer. Or if I was a guy that drank, highball, would do that too. I just don't drink whiskey no more because in my college days, it never was pretty. I just kind of quit it. After being hard-headed about that enough years, you learn. All right. So this would be the sausage. Now, show you a little trick. Take your little breadcrumb and put it all over. See, I didn't put a lot. So, let's say in 100 pounds of sausage, I might put half a cup like this. That's why I tell people that are gluten intolerant, they can eat my sausage. It's probably not going to hurt them because it's so distributed through the sausage. But I need to put a little bit to make it a bond, to make it bond together. I'm going to mix it. When I don't see them breadcrumbs no more, I know it's mixed right. Okay? And look, this is a good workout. This is a good upper body workout. That's how I keep that physique going. See, somebody asked me the other night how I stay so small when I'm cooking. It's the workout, man. It's all about the workout. And every now and then, get a little piece that jumps in your apron. Y'all notice my apron tonight? Maybe we're all purple and gold tonight with a little camouflage. Making sausage, purple and gold. It's all about the championship. This is championship sausage and andouille. All right, there's your sausage. That's it. I don't see any more breadcrumbs. I know I'm well mixed. That's how I know I'm well mixed. Because if you're not well mixed, you'll start seeing little breadcrumbs all over. You'll see little spots of them. Get them out of there. All right, I'm gonna change gloves. Now, show y'all a little trick. Oh, need some refreshing lemon water. Remember them lemons the other night, huh? #1 crop for the Italians coming in from Sicily. The only reason we don't get it from there anymore, California started growing lemons and they passed a tariff to shut that stuff down so they can add the lemons for the United States. But the CCC is the one that brought the lemons over here. And you know what lemon was? Everything that needed citric acid, they used lemon. When they started the big canning process, they used lemon juice and lemon peel in the canning process for the citric acid. Until they came up with some kind of magical citric acid. But that's what they would, so that's why the lemons weren't used, like they weren't making iced tea squirting a little lemon in it. It was used as a commercial product. Now, something I wanted to tell y'all, y'all make all this sausage, and y'all have issues after, you know, like maybe you just can't go. I want you to see the medicinal, item they had back in the day. See if y'all can read that. So prunes were sold, they weren't to be sold, they were medicinal. And these were California 60 to 70 prunes. Now I don't know if that was 60, 70 prunes to the pound or 60, 70 prunes in this whole case. This is a 25-pound case. But if they had 60, 70 prunes made up 25 pounds, they must look like salt balls in this case. But yeah, dried prunes for relief, not to be sold. Natural remedy, don't ever forget that. Never know when you're gonna need it. Okay, I now won't send y'all a bill for that fine medical advice I just gave y'all. That one's on the house, man. Another little tidbit about On Do It before we get into making something. It says that Our Lady of the Immaculate Conception of On Do It, Department of Mayan, the advertisement headed by a cross sets forth that these alms are solicited by permission of the bishop. The Immaculate Conception of On Do It. Check that out. On Do It was just powerful. Then they had a man, I'm assuming a man, this was back in the 1800s, 1857, his name was M. Andoulet. He was director of the General Movement of Funds at the Ministry of Finance in France. So you see, On Do It's been around. On Do It's been like, this is really important stuff. So the way I look at it when I make On Do It, it's like royalty. When I'm eating it, I'm the king. Because it looked like it was royalty back then. All right. So we're going to make a little case. We're going to make a little On Do It. Now, let's talk about the casing. It's all natural casing. This would be the artificial casing, okay? Fibers. I'll tell you, this is a lot easier to get. A lot easier to pass inspection. It's less of a pain, okay? I still use, I don't know how long I've been using, I still use the reel. I just don't know how long, you know, before they run us out of business. This is a big butt layer casing. I'll show y'all something. This is actually, this right here is the appendix of a cow. Think this thing's not big? Man, I can wear this as a glove. Look at this thing. So, but that's the appendix of a cow. So we're gonna make a little stripe of On Do It, just to show you. And the sausage will be made the same way. All right. I want to let y'all know tonight, I got a special guest in this kitchen. I got Miss Wilma Harvey, River Parish Tourism Commission, and they're doing a great job while we're having all this stuff going on to keep the world informed that we're still here and we're ready for them to come see us when all this is over. And they're doing a fantastic job. So this we're filming so they're filming a lot of sites around the area, the River Parish area, so that they can put a video together to promote our area. Just to keep people like, hey, we're here when it's over, we're here. We want to see you again.
Okay, explain. Timmy Falcon wants to know what size casing are you using?
This is beef minnows, and all I can tell you is the smallest one that they can buy. That's how I order it. I tell them, give me your smallest one. Now, if I use sausage casing, I use like a 35, 37. That's the measurement. There's a 32, 35, 35, 37, or 35, 38. That's the sizes I like to stay in. If you start getting the big ones, they'll have them go as sizes like 47 to 50. you start getting those big round ones, and you see people make andouille like that too. What they would do when they killed the hog and they made it with the andouille casing, they would use the biggest casing they had probably. That would be almost like this. This is called the beef middle, okay? This is what that andouille is gonna look like before I put it on the smoker. If you look, I don't know if you can see it, there's water dripping off of here. This is wet. This has a lot of water. The meat has water, the casing has water. The casing is sitting in water. So I have to get through all that water to make this smoke. This is the art. This is what I can teach anybody to do this. When you come to the Cajun cooking experience, this is what you do. They actually do what I'm doing here. They actually come here, and it's funny. Because let's say they have a family coming in, and it's really funny because they make it fun of each other. And you can about imagine where they're going with this. And that's what makes it fun.
Okay, so
I just let them roll with it. Okay?
Ronald wants to know why cow casing and not pork casing.
Okay, why cow casing, not pork casing? The cow casing makes you traditional andouille. See how fat this is? Let me show you with the cow casing. With the pork casing. So here's the casing from the hog. This would be like the large intestine. Small intestine is chicken. That's the stuff they're putting in the andouille over there in France. I'm trying to think of what they said the smell was like. I can't remember. I can't use the word. I can't remember the word. All right. So this would be now we sell both sizes. Some people swear. Now, if you don't look at what I'm doing, I didn't make any magic. I didn't change the meat. I didn't do anything. Here's your two different sizes on do it. I can tell you this one right here is going to smoke quicker. You got to smoke this one almost by itself. This lean pork with no fat, it's going to dry out real fast. If I put it on with this is going to be super dry. So I wanted this by itself. I want this by itself. This is our small casing on do it. People come and they prefer one over the other. They swear it tastes better. It's the same meat. It's the same process. But I think maybe because it's small, the smoke may penetrate it better, and I'm not sure. It'll be a little drier, so maybe that's why they like it. But I'll tell you, they are sticklers about their small and big on do it. And if I don't have one, they'll go, oh man, curse me going out the door. I just laugh. I think it's pretty funny. But I try to have both of them. But there just comes time, especially around Christmas time. This is not a big seller. People don't really want these. It's these. They want the traditional one do it. This is 80% of it. People want the traditional. Okay? Any questions, Lane?
You answer the size casing already?
I answer the size casing.
Okay. I think it's all irrelevant ones.
Woo! Time to take a sip now. So this would, people always tell me, I want to make my own and do it. I want to make my own sausage. I just made it look real easy. I made it look very easy. It's very labor intensive. So a lot of people, I see them what they go do. Then they go out there and they go buy them a grinder and a stuffer, and boy, they're all ready. They go make their own deer sausage. Boy, they look like a greyhound dog in the stall, ready for that little rabbit to run out. Boy, old rabbit runs out, they gone. And they running that rabbit. And after a couple of years, you start seeing that stuff hide on the side because it's labor intensive. It's a day's project. By the time you're gonna cut the meat up, clean the meat, especially if you're doing deer sausage, you gotta clean the deer, you gotta clean it up, you gotta cut it up, you gotta chop it. Those little grinders you buy, they're not gonna chop like the one I have. It's time, it's long. Then they're gonna come back and pass that meat through that grinder again to stuff it. It's a slow process. Then they have to smoke it. And when they're smoking, they can't do like me. I can put my stuff in the smoke, I can go to bed, because mine's all automatic. They can't walk away and do that. So it could be they can be as much as 2 days of project. And this is, if you're gonna get into it, make it a good hobby and want to do it right, stick with it. If you're looking for a quick pastime, man, save your money, please. Just come buy it for me. Anything else, Elaine?
Okay, is it hard to make the sausage links and can they break easily?
Is it hard to make the sausage link and can they break easily? So let's say I was making sausage, okay? If you notice, I didn't link it because I lay this on my smoker like this. But what I'll do, I'll make it kind of long, and I just linked it. If I want to link it again, I just linked it. And sometimes it'll bust, but basically you squeeze it, make sure you got your little pocket right here, and just twist it. Okay? And I could have had them twisting as I was coming out the stuffer, but I'd rather leave them whole, and I'm making the size I want when I cut them after I come out when I bring them out the smoker. I can make, because some people like long ones, some people like the little short ones. Some people just want one little piece on do it. So I'll wrap 1 or 2 little pieces together. So I have them. That's why I don't have a standard size. We have so many people, and a lot of it depends on their income. I have a lot of people, especially some of the elderly people. They're on Social Security. They're on fixed income. They're just looking for a little taste. They may be by themselves. So I try to also think about that. Also, I try to think about everybody. Okay. Got something there?
Yeah. Let's see, I was always told that the meat takes the smoke up to turkey neck. I was always told the meat takes the smoke up to internal temperature of 140 degrees. Is that true?
Okay, turkey neck says, you're always told that the meat takes the temperature up to 140 degrees. That's your board of health bottom line. You're really supposed to go to 160?
The meat takes the smoke up to.
So you want to bring that meat up to 160? If you start putting too much heat to it, you're not going to smoke it anymore. You're cooking it. So you're right, turkey neck. You want to keep it at that 140 to 160. But somewhere in that process, you have to get it at 160 degrees if you're doing a commercial. If you're doing it for yourself, look, go back to the days when they were cold smoking. What I call cold smoking, they would take, our Alpha Paws did that. They would have these barrels, 55-gallon drum. They would cut the top and bottom off, and they make a smoker with it. And they make a tunnel. And that smoke would pass through the tunnel because they couldn't put a fire in that barrel. The barrel's only this tall, you're gonna burn up your stuff. They would cold smoke it. They just pump a lot of smoke in it. The product would actually be kind of raw inside, but it was smoke, it was cured. But it was heavy. And when I first came here, Elaine's papa used to make a coon gumbo. And the first time I ate it, it's like, whoa, the smoke just hit me. But you get used to it. It's something you have to acquire a taste for, or something you were born with. That's basically, but then if you got the little Cypress smokehouses, you have to be real careful because those are pretty tight. You build your smokehouse, you want this thing to breathe. You want this thing to let out a little smoke every now and then, some different places. You make it real tight, you better be careful. That smoke's not going anywhere, and all that smoke is just put heavy concentration of smoke into that smokehouse. And if you pump it in too hard, you're going to get that hard, almost black on do it. It's going to be a heavy taste, that heavy smoke taste. Now if that's what you like, that's fine. Most people can't handle that anymore, okay?
Okay, Jane Keller says she missed the beginning of your show. What's the meat you're using and what seasoning are you using for your own?
Okay, Jane Keller wants to know, she came in late, and we're not going to count on tardy. We'll let you go this time, Jane. You're all right. So what's the kind of meat? My own I use cushion meat. Temple meat's fine. I use cushion meat. Anything lean. You don't want any fat on it. Some people like to put fat. That's fine. They say the fat adds flavor. I get fat in my sausage. I let the sausage add flavor. Because most of the time, wherever I'm cooking on doing, I'm probably going to throw a little sausage in it anyway. So I'll get the fat flavor from my sausage. I'll get my bacon taste, my ham taste from on do it. That's what I like. And with seasoning, salt and pepper. Salt, pepper, and a little cure. I don't put nothing else. I don't add anything else to this on do it. It's pure. Think of this. We're going back to our ancestors. Form the table again. Form the table. They did that big boucherie. They took that hog and they laid it out on the table like this, slit the throat, got the blood out. They put salt in that blood and stirred it so it wouldn't clabber. And then some of them guys, they were tough, they were macho, drinking that blood at the temperature of the hog with that salt in it. But then they would use it to make blood boudin. They would take the fat off that hog and they would go cook that. They had a pot, they had a big black pot with wood underneath. They were cooking that down to get the hog lard. Hog lard was like a staple, you had to have it. In the meantime, all those scrap, the head, the feet, the tails, whatever, anything that was scrap, they'd have a pot ready to make hog head cheese. Hog head cheese was basically anything that they weren't going to use. And they would put everything in, that's why it was gel. You had all the fatty parts, the head, And it was, I had a friend tell me, he said when he was a little boy, he go watch his daddy and them do butchery. He said he don't eat hog and cheese today because he can still see them eyes looking at him when they're boiling in the pot. So what they were doing, they had the hog, give you an idea, they would put boiling water in that hog, either a cane knife or some knives, and they would scrape that hog and get all the hair off. They made sure they left enough water in that pot to throw all that scrap in. So the first thing they do is had to throw that hair. You think of the people that had to get involved. Then they had to skin that hog. Then they had to start cutting it up and use like your pork chops and your seven steaks or whatever you want to get out of it. And all you scraps, somebody's making a hog head cheese. The intestines, they used the intestines to make sausage. My mom always told me that was the kid's job. Now, guys, let me tell y'all something. When you kill a hog, that intestine is not like this. It ain't pretty like this. It stinks and it's full. It got stuff in it. And the kids had to go get that stuff out, wash it and rinse it. That was the kid's job.
Michelle Joel says they use everything but the oink oink.
So yeah, Michelle said they use everything but the oink oink. And the only thing they had, that's what I was told, the bladder. They would take the bladder, fill it up with water, tie it up, make a water balloon, and throw it to the kids so they have something to play with. Because all the kids had to get there and help. Everybody had a job. If you can walk and chew bubble gum at the same time, you had a job. You was coming in to work. And that's just the way it was. But remember, it was all community. But most of the people around here were related. In that small community, that was cousins, aunts, uncles. You know, that's when you married your first cousin and stuff. I mean, that's just the way it was.
Okay, Yvonne wants to know, do you make hog head cheese?
Okay, Vaughn wants to know, do I make hog head cheese? I can make hog head cheese. One day we'll do it. Hog head cheese is popular in the wintertime, okay? Remember, that's when we killed the hogs. That's when we ate our pork. That's when we did the butchery. Problem with making hog head cheese in the wintertime, I'm overloaded making on doing. I'm overloaded making sausage. I don't have any room in my cooler to put that hog head cheese so it can chill, so I can sell it. Now, right now, I have plenty of time to make hog head cheese, but nobody's eating it. Because once it gets hot, our body just doesn't want the amount of pork that we did in the wintertime. And it's just amazing. I don't eat a whole lot of pork in the summertime, but in the wintertime, I live on it. It's just something about the way our body functions. That's something else, Elaine.
Not yet.
Well, Elaine's doing good tonight. She's not freezing up or nothing. I think Wilma over there got it going good. So, that's pretty much the on-doing making process. Once you get a smoke, like I said, if you're going to get into it, go a little bit at a time. Start with a hand stuff and just get your little bit casing. See if you like to do it. And if you like to do it, you know, you can get your little crank stuffer, but move up. Because I'm going to tell you, you better have a passion for it. You better love it, or it's going to get old fast. Because remember, you have a lot of other chores that you have to do. And you got the honey-do list, you know, honey be saying, I got something for you to do when you're playing in your old man cave over there. That's, you know, so you better like it. You got to turn the music louder when, you know, y'all know how it's done. So let me show you a little something we cooked up here. I got 2 dishes here. This is my land. Oh, I want to show y'all something. Here's the smoked sausage I smoked this evening. Okay? Let me tell you the best way to eat smoked sausage. Right off the smoke. You ever come here when I'm smoking sausage, and I break you a piece of sausage, you're going to think you died and went to heaven, man. It's the best sausage in the world. Nothing better than sausage off the smoke. Remember that my land casing I showed y'all a while ago? This is in my land. This is it. What is in my land? Think about back in the Cajun days. They lived off the land. They made their own ham. People didn't have a lot of money. Remember, they lived off the land. So they made their own ham, and this is made with the appendix of a cow. Now that casing is about this long. That casing I showed you a while ago is the artificial casing that makes my land. Okay, it makes it real pretty in my land too. So, how would I cook this? I'm gonna make me a ham. Basically, you can cook it the way you love your ham. And you can see where I tied it off to smoke it. Okay? So what I would do, double aluminum foil, okay? Make your little bowl. Take your favorite soft drink, whether, you know, a cola, any kind of cola. You want that syrup with sugar in there. And you put that, okay? And then you add a little bit, so you put, let's say, 2 12 ounces of cola, and then come back with maybe 12 ounces of water. Maybe a little bit more cola. Put you some brown sugar. Put you some pineapples. Put anything you like to bake a ham. You had something there?
Turkey neck also, do you season your andouille more than the sausage because it's to be used as seasoning?
Turkey neck, good question. Do I season my andouille more than I do my sausage because it's going to be used for seasoning? Yes. I do have a little bit heavier seasoning in my andouille than sausage. And it's not a whole lot. It's not a whole lot, but I do put a little bit extra in it because I wanted to throw that flavor out. And you're not really going to taste it. It's not like if you bite into it raw, it's not gonna bite you. You know, salt and pepper just attacking you. It's not like that, but it has a little bit more. It's a good question, Dirk.
How are you making the mott lamb? And was the stomach ever used to make the mott lamb casing?
How am I making the mott lamb? Was the stomach ever used to make the mott lamb? So the stomach is really, really tough. That's what we showed a while ago. That hog ball. That is hard. I don't know what I did with it, but that hog ball, that paws, is tough. Like I said, when you can use that for crab bait, and crabs can't tear it up, that's why you have to boil it before you chop it up to put it. So no, you wouldn't use the stomach. Like I said, we use the appendix of the cow. The meat in this mott lamb is the same exact meat as the andouille. Exact same thing. That's why I call it andouille on steroids. See this thing? Like you know, Schwarzenegger thing to work it out, pumping them weights, and like a big macho, it's like a macho andouille, you know. But this is nothing more. I don't change the seasoning. I keep it the same, but it's not gonna taste the same. Everything in here is the same, but it will not taste like an andouille. It's gonna taste like a ham. Like I said, you put your cola, your pineapple, your sugar. You got anything else you bake in a ham? Man, put it. That's what you like. Then you seal this up. And look, notice I put it in a pan. The reason was just in case this thing busts. You want to seal this really good and tight. And if you want your pan, you can put some water in the bottom of here so it doesn't like mess up your pan if you want. These pans are tough. It's a hotel pan. I just put them in. I got them big tough pans. And you put this in for 300 degrees. Check it after 2.5 hours. See if it's ready. I'll show you how you know it's ready. You're gonna take it out, you're gonna peek at it. The reason I tell you check it, everybody's oven is different. I don't know what your oven bakes at. I got a convection oven here at 300 degrees. I can tell you 2.5 hours I'm gonna be done. But I can't tell you your oven. If you have a regular oven, it's probably gonna take 3, okay? Then you open it up. This casing is gonna split off. It's just gonna be bust open. You know it's ready. I promise you, you ever cook one of these and eat it, and everybody in Vacheron that's eating them knows this, you will never go buy a ham again. I call it the best damn ham you're ever gonna eat.
Do you ever put thyme in your andouille?
Any what?
Thyme?
Thyme? So that's a good question. Somebody asked if I ever put thyme. I take a lot of time to make that andouille, but no, we don't put no thyme. Because you know, I keep it very basic. Salt and pepper, that's the way our ancestors did. They lived off the land, they had salt and pepper. They didn't have any fancy seasonings. They were just simple people that just, the food they ate was just full of flavor. They got the true flavor of everything they ate. They got the flavor that God gave it when God made that plant or God made that animal. They got that true flavor. I figured if they want thyme, if they want any kind of seasonings, instead of putting it on andouille, they can put it in their food. And they can cook with it in their food. And that's andouille might pick it up. If you came to me and said, Spud, I want you to make me a 30-pound batch, I want some thyme in it, I want some oregano, and I want... Baby, if you paying it, I ain't making it. I will make it to your order.
Okay. For your andouille, you said you use 25 pounds of meat. How many ounces nitrate or red black pepper do you use in your
So, the red black pepper, I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't know ounces because the way my scale measures, I just go by, like I knew I needed 2 heaping tablespoons, soup spoons of pepper. That's all I can tell you. I just know that. Play with it. This is the best way to do it because you want to adapt it to your flavor. You want to make this your personal signature product. So the salt, man, I don't even know tell you how much salt to put because everybody's different with the salt. but play with it. Don't overload it with seasoning, because remember, it's all about the smoke. If you under season it a little bit, it's okay. It's gonna be good. It's still gonna season your food. You're gonna get that good smoke flavor in your food. And this is what it's about. You can add seasoning to your food, but if you over season it, you just messed up your sausage. You just made a sausage that maybe you can't eat. So if it's under seasoned, it's even a little bit better. Keep track of what you do, and then next time if you don't think you had enough, tell you the best way to find out after you mix it. Take a little bit, put it in a skillet. Fry a little bit. Every batch of sausage I make, I taste it in that skillet. Okay, it's not the only reason I taste it to check the seasoning. It just tastes so good frying that sausage being boiled. So I do it for myself too, but I do taste every batch. I make you deer sausage, I taste that batch before I start with it. I take the time to taste every batch I cook. I want to make sure I got it right, because we all make mistakes. Okay? Got me, Lane?
Do you make small smoked sausage sticks?
Small smoked sausage sticks. So that would be more like the little Slim Jim sticks. No, I tried to make those. They're real tedious, and it's a sheepskin you have to use, and I have to get a smaller horn for my stuffer. Man, I probably one of my best cursing days I ever had trying to make that stuff. And maybe it was just me, but it just kicked my butt. So no, I really don't make it. I've never had an interest in making it. But somebody came to me and said, bought me some special case, and they said, hey, can you make me some? Oh, hell yeah, we're gonna try it. Elaine's looking up the notes.
Okay, Sally Cox Hayes, where can she get a mud lamp?
Sally wants to know where she can get a mud lamp. Call me, let me know you want one, and I'll tell you when they come pick it up. This time of the year, we don't keep them in stock because it was always a holiday thing. There was something about Thanksgiving and Christmas when we sold, and we sold a lot of them, especially Christmas time. You know, a lot of people had to have the mud lamp on the table. What they do after they cook it, they would cut it, and kind of cut it in pieces, and it would be like an appetizer with 2 picks, and you go pick it, and you put you some sauce or honey mustard or mustard or Creole mustard, anything you like, any kind of little sauce you like. So it's more like an appetizer food. But let me tell you, take this mud lamp and slice it in the morning, and put that in a skillet and fry it, and put that with and fry some eggs, and fry some bacon, and make your ham, egg, and bacon sandwich, baby. You're gonna be coming to look for a lot of these things. All right, Lane.
I'm looking.
So, Timmy Foglu said, man, he's looking for a good pork stew. Timmy, it's coming, I promise. So, one of the things we cooked tonight, and if you ever have any questions about mud lamp, please call me. Call me on my cell, and I can line up to make one for you. And like I said, we take special orders because I have to put them in because we don't keep them in stock, because the case is expensive and it's just expensive to make them, okay?
Why do you put water in your sausage when not your own doing?
Why do I put water in my sausage and then not my own do it? The water in my sausage is just to help me mix that seasoning better. If I just did a dry mix, it's really hard to take that grind meat with that fat in it. It's got more fat, and that fat wants to bind. And that heat when you're putting, when you're mixing. Now remember, you're always introducing heat to this meat. Anytime you're mixing, anytime you pass it through a stuffer, anytime you pass it through a grinder, you're always introducing heat, which makes it want to bind. So you put a little water to get a better mixture. Whereas my own do it because I'm chopping it pieces big like my thumb, it doesn't bind as much because it's got more air gaps in it, and I can just do it with salt and pepper. And it was the way I was taught. I'd rather not put water in it, so the on-do-it, I've never put water in the on-do-it. It would make it easier for me, then I'd have to come put some breadcrumbs to try to bond it together. And you're trying to bind chunks of meat, it's not gonna work. You got me there?
That's the one who's consider yourself a master sausageologist or what? Sausageologist?
Lester wants to know, my old buddy Lester, my cousin wants to know if I'm a master sausageologist. Sociologist. Well, hell yeah I am. I'd be crazy to say I wasn't. So, here's one of the things. Good little appetizer. I'm going to give you all a little appetizer. Very popular dish when we have meetings, like especially with the tourism commission and all, we have guests come from outside. We want them to taste how I want to do it. But we want them to taste how I want to do it. We don't want them to taste a jambalaya, we don't want to do it. But we do, but we want them to also get a taste of how I want to do it. Take some more and do it, slice it up, and fry it in some hog lard. Baby, dip that in some mustard. Unbelievably good. If you think it's too tough when you do it, boil your andouille first. I like the toughness. I can cook it a little longer if I want. This is an awesome appetizer. We did a show. I fried this at 12 o'clock in the daytime. We didn't eat it 7:30 that night. I bought 600 slices or 700 slices. I'm doing like this. There wasn't a piece left at the end of the night. It was cold. I saw everybody else taking home food because they had too much food. They ate all I'm gonna do it. Fried on do it chips. Great appetizer. You have company, special out of town company. If you just need a little something to nibble on, put these out. You can also do it. If you get my smoked sausage, that's another good appetizer. Many, many times on a Thursday night or Saturday, we have a lot of guys here. We'll grill some sausage and some hog lard. Or just, you don't have to put the hog lard because the sausage is going to throw its own lard. And you just fry it down, get that good green meat on it, dip that in some mustard. Man, let me tell you, you're going to look like a buzzard during emptying that dish. In fact, when we put that at the table, all them guys that come here on Saturday, that's what they look like. They're more buzzards on the side of the road. That's all you see is picking and eating.
If somebody wants to know, you're able to ship your products, your andouille and stuff?
So, we're going to start shipping. I'm waiting for the bags to come in. I'm hoping to start next week. I ordered the bags today. They didn't have them. They're hoping to get them Monday. It's just a special bag I have to get. And check with me next week. Check with me Monday. We're going to do it. We're going to ship them. I'm going to freeze them. I'll vacuum pack them. There's 2 ways I can do it. That's your choice. I just shipped some to my daughter in California. Took them off the smoker Monday morning. Vacuum pack them. Shipped them out the same day. She got them 2 days later. They were perfect. Got to remember, smoked meat is cured. Or I can freeze it for you, wrap it in some paper bags, and ship it out. And put an ice pack in it so it'll stay frozen when you get it. If it's a little soft, it's going to be okay. Remember, all the smoked meat is cured, so you're okay. Okay? Anything else, Elaine?
Nothing else I'm seeing yet.
Sonia says she loves to give my land as a Christmas gift. That is a big Christmas thing. People give this as a Christmas gift. You know, you get like us, we don't want nothing for Christmas. We have everything. We buy stuff all year long. It's not that we need anything around Christmas. This is a great Christmas gift. Man, give this to somebody that they can cook this. And if you really love them a lot, you cook it for them. You bring it to them cooked already, and or you stay there, or you buy it for them. And let's say you're buying it for somebody you really care about, buy it for them, and then go to their house and cook it with them. Spend some time with them. This is what makes it so special. But this is an awesome gift. And I can tell you, we can take this and cook it, and we can eat off of this for a long time. Ham steaks, ham and eggs, just ham sandwich, anything you want that replaces a ham, this is it. Slice it as thick or thin as you want. Think about this with hams when you buy in the market. A lot of hams are injected. They shot up. They shot up with saline and all. They shot up with artificial stuff. They don't even taste like ham anymore. This is ham. This is the real deal. Okay?
Say something about using mustard. What kind of mustard?
Okay, somebody said about mustard. What kind of mustard am I using? This is regular yellow mustard. If you like Creole mustard, what you call that one? Dijon? Whatever you like. You know, you want to get fancy, you know, and you want to find that fancy mustard? Yeah, no problem. Honey mustard? Honey mustard is awesome with this. Got that little sweet to it, you know? But any kind of mustard you like. Your favorite mustard.
Can Sally just call you? She wants to order them out there?
Sally, you can definitely call me if you want. You can definitely call me if you want to get in my land. Give me a call, 225-806-1710. Call myself. Inbox me on my Facebook page, anything you want. And Randy Bibb said, oh yeah, I gave Randy my land for Christmas, and he ate it for Carnival. It freezes well. You can put it in the freezer probably a few months. You can just use half of it. Now something I want to let everybody know, when you make a sausage, that's what you're going to do in your man cave, okay? And you're going to make some sausage, keep this in mind, especially in the summertime. Heat is your worst enemy. Bacteria is your worst enemy. Change gloves often. people have the misconception of, and we learn this in all our educational classes for food service, wash your gloves. Or take them off. Think about this. Somebody's gonna come in there, a surgeon's gonna come in, he's gonna operate on you. Does he just put a pair of gloves on? No, he scrubs up first. Everything, you have bacteria on you. You introduce some bacteria to this food. Before I started tonight, I went and I scrubbed all my arms, I scrubbed my hands, and I put gloves on. You saw me change gloves. I could have went and washed these gloves. The reason why I'm not a fan of gloves, I put them on because this thing is cold and I don't want arthritis in my knuckles. I'm not a big fan of gloves for one reason. When I'm fooling with this, because people put gloves on and they think, if I got gloves, my hands never get dirty. Wrong. You have to change the gloves or you have to wash the gloves. And I mean wash them, you better scrub them. I'd rather change them out. And when you change them out, wash your hands again. Bacteria is your worst enemy in this, and when you're fooling with beans and when you're fooling with the raw stuff. Every time you pass it through the stuff, when you pass it through the grinder, you're mixing it. You're always introducing heat. Heat and bacteria are your two worst enemies. So keep that in mind. If you're gonna go on a summer day, it's 100 degrees outside and you're in your man cave, you don't have air conditioning, don't make sausage that day. Please don't make it. Save it for another day. Got one, Elaine?
What type of casing is edible?
What kind of, so we have the beef casing and pork casing. I'll tell you about the beef casing. It's edible. Let me see if I can do this. I'll take this, okay? And I'll split it. And it may not do it because I didn't cool it off yet. And I'll peel this casing off, okay? The beef casing I'll peel off. The pork casing I don't want. It's edible. There's nothing wrong with it. I just had this thing about taking it off, okay? So what you do, you just make your line down the middle and you just peel it. That's all. You do it when it's cold, it works real well. Another thing I do when I don't do it, if I want to, let's say I want to stretch my on do it. What I'll do is, I'll cut it down the middle. Maybe some half moons. So I want you to think about something. You put this in your gumbo, or you put this in your gumbo, what's your chances of choking on this? Chances of choking on this. Especially if you have kids eating or elderly people eating. So always think about that. You can cut these big ones in half, put these little half moons, and another thing too, they're gonna say, man, you put a lot on do it. You just doubled the amount on do it in your gumbo so you look like a hero. Always gotta be thinking ahead, you know? It's all about the perception. Got another one, Elaine?
You got a request. Buddy should invite Lester to cook with him one night. Great comedy show and awesome cooking.
Me and Lester gonna do that one night. We're gonna go back there by his under his carport. We're gonna have to cook something. We're gonna think, oh, I got a dish. Me and Lester got a dish. This is the one we're probably gonna do. It's called scratch stew. I'm not telling you anymore. But I can't wait to cook that one. Got any more, Elaine?
Let's see.
You see I'm eating this on do it? One thing about it, coming out the smoke, the way I cook it, I can eat it. My on do is good to eat right out the smoke.
Let's see, Lester said he cooks a lot and loves cooking a mod lamb on a bed of sliced Creole onions and 1 can 7-Up.
Some Creole onions and a can of 7-Up. That's Lester uses 7-Up instead of a cola. Okay? So it's what you like to cook it in. The way you do your hand. And everybody, you know, I'm gonna give you a recipe. Man, use your own. Play around with it.
Okay.
I tell you all this stuff is good. Woo, woo.
Let's back up a little bit. Ronald wants to know, why don't you put garlic in your andouille?
Good question. Ronald wants to know why I don't put garlic in my andouille. You like garlic or you hate garlic. There's no in between with garlic. I'd rather not put it than let you put it in your food. However, you call me and say, Spud, I want that 30-pound batch. I want garlic in my andouille. You got garlic, baby. I'm gonna give you the garlic. And you gonna tell me how much you want, how you like it to taste, and I'm gonna fix your batch. But for the public, if I was fixing mine, I would have garlic. Because I'm fixing for the public, I'm not gonna put garlic in it. And that's the only reason. A lot of people in my area just don't, they're not crazy about garlic. And that's it. That's the only reason. But garlic is definitely acceptable in andouille. In fact, most people do put garlic around. Especially across the river. You from Grand Point, I was from St. Rose. Most of those have garlic in their andouille.
Do you sell your own andouille?
Do I sell? Who's that name?
Deborah Hendrick?
Deborah wants to know if I sell my andouille. Absolutely. Every day of the week. That's when you never have to call for. I have andouille here all the time. I don't always have the small casing. It's going to be a while before I have it. But I always have the fat casing. Always. That is one of my main products. Okay. We never run out of andouille. If I do, I'm high five and say come back next week because I had a good week. See, Lane, y'all ain't busy today. Y'all keep her busy. Because, you know, she wants to make sure y'all love her. In fact, if y'all show Elaine some love and send her some hearts out there. Y'all light that screen up for her. She's over there doing a good job in that hole. You know, I told y'all, she's like the Wizard of Oz over there. Y'all see I keep picking on this stuff, huh? All right, here come Elaine. Look all that love when you get there. Woo! Boy, you getting all kind of punches and everything. Wait a minute, y'all never gave me none of that. Boy, you gotta see that smile on her face. Man, look like she swallowed the banana sideways over there. You got any more?
Because it will keep her too busy. Can you make a show making boudin?
Somebody wants to know if I make a show.
Johnson.
Who's that?
Martin Johnson.
Mark wants to know if I can make a show making boudin. We will. I have it on my list, okay? That would actually be a good one to do me and Sean one day. That would be a good one. Sean, you listening, huh? A boudin would be a really good one to make. That would be a good one to do. Because Sean comes from, he has a lot more traditions that he was brought up with than I was. And he can remember his old ancestors making the boudin. He was there, so. And boudin is something, it's a process. It's you know, you got to make it, you got to cook it, and let me tell you, Vasher, we don't put rice in our boudin. Rice was a filler. And of course, we had a lot of rice. We were rice country, especially when you get to Lafayette. That's their thing. Rice is more of a filler. But remember Marlo's Meat Market, if everybody remembers him, they never had rice. Mr. Peanut Falls, when he made his, he never had rice. So some of the old timers around here didn't put rice in their boudin. Lane, you got it, man?
I'm getting it.
Y'all got Elaine all shook up. All them hearts here, she's all messed up now. So that's it. That's basically the andouille process. The biggest thing we just can't go over is the smoking. The smoking is the biggest thing that makes it. That makes or breaks what you're gonna do. That's your flavor. The smoking is the art. I'm 27 years doing this, and I'm still learning how to smoke. And I'm still listening to people that smoke tell me how they do theirs. Because I'm willing to try a little trick. It doesn't bother, you know, I'm never gonna know everything. I wanna learn more all the time.
Okay, what you drinking tonight?
Tonight, somebody wants to know what I'm drinking? A Katy French farmhouse beer. This is a Louisiana beer, so I try to stay in Louisiana as much as I can. I like to drink all, you know, hey, this is about promoting us, promoting Louisiana, sharing our Louisiana love with everybody. So you have any of y'all people that make craft beer, want to bring me your craft beer, and I can sit here and promote it one night, please do. Because I'm about promoting our product. Because nobody does it better than we do over here. We put the love in it, we put the tradition in it, we bring those traditions back from the days of our ancestors, and we just keep carrying them on. That's what makes us special. I'm not saying nobody else has good stuff. There's good stuff all over the United States. I want to travel to the United States and taste everybody else's food. But we have all these cultures we bring together. We bring all these cultures together, and this is what makes us unique. And we're not scared to take whatever culture. You know, I don't care who I'm cooking with. I want to learn your culture, and I want to put it. I want to twist it with. I want to give it some Cajun twist, and I want to make it one part of us. That's it, Elaine.
Obviously, when you invest in tag team to do your cooking show, you also audition to be our taste tester.
I'm a cavalier say it's gonna be our taste testing with me and when we get together and do this cooking show. But we're gonna do it. I think boudin is gonna be a good one.
And somebody asked about PT Paul's with a roux, so I guess they missed it the other night.
Okay, we do. Somebody asked about PT Poivres with a roux. If you go look up dirty rice, you'll see the PT Poivres with a roux made with it. And sometime in the future, we're probably gonna have a dish that I'll cook some more. I'll do it again. I'll bring it back with like some kind of stew. So I'll do it again one time. I'm probably gonna do a chicken stew pretty soon. That goes great with BT guava. Or some sticky chicken. That's something we gotta do if I get some good chicken. Sticky chicken, babe. If you never had sticky chicken before, tune in that night.
Okay, what you cooking tomorrow? What's on the plate lunch tomorrow?
Tomorrow's the plate lunch. Okay, glad somebody asked. So plate lunches tomorrow is gonna be red beans and baked pork chops. We're gonna be serving 10:30 to 12:30. If you want to do it, you want sausage, turkey necks, neck bones, pull up in the parking lot. I'll fill your order. Bring your cash or check, cash or check. I don't have the credit card machines up yet, but today we sold quite a bit of turkey necks and neck bone. So we'll fill those orders also.
Okay, can you tell the audience what boudin is?
So if somebody wants to know what boudin is. Boudin is it's got, so the old way of cooking is some pork and some pork liver, which is, with your onions and your shallots and your bell peppers. Back in the day when they first started, they probably didn't have the Trinity, no celery or nothing like that. So they have those three things in it. And they have the pork, and you cook all that down. You cook all that down. And the main thing is you got the pork liver, and it gives it that little taste, and you have to be careful with that pork liver. I think a lot of people are getting away from it. Pork liver is strong. And if you put too much, you'll blow it, you'll ruin it. Okay? So, and then after you're making and stuffing in the sausage, you gotta boil the sausage and cook it. It's a process. But it's a very unique product, and we definitely have to make that one day.
Okay, let them know how they can see a replay of tonight's episode.
So, how do you see a replay of tonight's episode? Go on Cajun Cooking Experience. After I finish, I'm gonna make sure it posts. We're gonna post it on there. It's gonna stay on there forever. Cajun Cooking Experience Facebook page, and you can see it. Within 10 minutes, it'll be on there. So you better see the replay.
Where we located.
So somebody wants to know where we located? We located in the CBD of Asheville, Louisiana. 2644 Highway 20. We the CBD. We got the bank, utilities, the courthouse, and the post office and the library. We big town, man. And we got Spudders. We had Piggly Wiggly, but didn't work out. But y'all come up here to 2644 Highway 20. Come show us some love, and I'll be glad to meet a lot of people that watch the show. Can't wait to see y'all. So I think that's all for tonight. We've covered everything. You have any questions? Look, let me know. Give me some comments, and your comments, if you're from out of town, let me know where you're watching from. I love that. I love the people watching out of town. I'm getting ready to give me a map so I can kind of keep track of everybody, what towns and what states and all have watched this. And if you're ever in town, be sure you come see me. I don't care what we got going on. I'm gonna make time to visit with you.
Do you plan on doing these shows after the quarantine's over with?
So that's a good question. Do I plan on doing these shows after the quarantine's over with? It's only got one way to answer this. Oh, hell yeah. We're gonna keep doing these shows because I am having a blast. It's something I've always wanted to do. It's a passion of mine to spread our Louisiana love and share our culture, because I think we have the most unique culture in the world. And I'm just passionate about it. And I don't know everything. I do a lot of research to put these shows on, and I listen to people that give me stories and tell me hints. I love that, and I love to pass it on. Okay, so yes, we're gonna do it. Maybe not twice a week, but at least once a week. But we'll see. We'll see where it goes. Okay.
What's the best time to call you?
Best time to call me on myself. Anytime after 7 o'clock in the morning, give me a call. If I don't answer, leave a message. I'll call you back. Because I could be in the middle of something like, my hands are on doing something. I just can't answer the phone. Or I'm in a smoke and I just can't answer. I'll call you right back. Make sure to leave me a message.
I think that's it.
So, all right. So that's it for tonight. Thank y'all so much for watching. Y'all got the high level education and make it on doing. The one thing you learn is that on doing, made on the German coast, is totally different than the rest of the world and the rest of the United States. This is the real deal. You can go anywhere along the German coast and you can make this. And you can buy this. But if you get away from us, this is where the heritage, we came from France, we came from Germany. The Germans came here and made on do it. Of course, we gave it a French name. And then, and this is the original product. This is the way our German ancestors made it. And this is the only place you're gonna find the real On Do It. Everybody else, they putting their own little tweaks to it. And please don't go buy that stuff that says Cajun On Do It. It looks like a sausage. Please don't tell me you ever bought that. Come along here. If you don't buy it from me, get it from somebody else, but get the real On Do It. Please, do yourself a favor. And be careful with sausage. If you want a good sausage these days, you're gonna have to go to a shop, a sausage shop, like all along here, St. John Parish, St. Charles Parish, St. James Parish, Ascension Parish. We have a lot of people still making making it the old way. This is where you want to buy your sausage. But look at the ingredients. You get more than 5 ingredients, back off of that sausage. You probably don't want to buy it. That's anything. Well, y'all, thank y'all very much. I love y'all. See y'all Tuesday night. I will tell y'all what I'm cooking Tuesday night, but hell, I don't know. So I'm gonna be announcing it as soon as I figure it out. Elaine's got the list of what everybody wanted. I'll pick something, 2 items for next week. I enjoyed this thoroughly. Y'all come back now here. Bye, y'all. Love y'all.
Hello, my name is Tommy Bourgeois. I own the Creole House restaurant in Paulina. Been in existence since 2011. We're a full-service restaurant serving Cajun food, family atmosphere. But we do have a side bar and a music room, which we have music pretty much every other weekend. It's a variety of music. The music room is a family atmosphere where you can have your children here. And it's just a good time for all. So we offer anybody, anytime, come on in. It's free of charge. The music is for your entertainment. It's for you to have a good time. Thank y'all. Enjoy this tonight.
My name is Jordan Ballin, and this is Mr. Marty Pouchet, and we play at the Creole House a good bit, and we enjoy playing here for y'all. And we hope if you haven't been out here, you can come out and see us one time. It's kind of hard to find a room whenever we play, because
It's pretty packed up.
usually pack the house because it's such good food, such a good atmosphere. So without further ado, we'll give y'all a little taste of what we do over here. It's all items, bad times by the fire in your touch and the flame in your eyes. I'm born in love again, and a brand new day. Well, the whole town's talking, got the line I'm walking. He's right to your door, how you stood wrong. I was a rolling stone. Here come along. I found those big jumps now. That's all strings down. Turn my life around. Whoa, sunrise, baptized by the fiery touch and the flame in your eyes. Born to love again, I'm a brand new day. Used to love a man leaving, oh, I brag about my freedom. No one can tie me down till I met you. Now my heart beats true. Baby, you need to get a few small like water. your eyes. Born to love again, I'm a brand new day. Oh, I saw the light, I was baptized by the fire of the touch and the flame in your eyes. Born to love again, I'm a brand new day. Yeah, I'm born to love again. I'm a brand new day.
Yeah. So John Banner right here again on the voice.
Oh, I won't back down. Oh, I won't back down. You can stand me up at the gates of hell, but I'm still not down. But I won't back down. But I'm still not around. Won't be turned around. You're the world that keeps on dragging me down, but I'm still my ground. Yeah, I won't back down. Hey, baby, if there's an easy way out, hey, I'm gonna stand my ground. You don't won't back down. Oh, I know I was right. I got just one life. In a world that keeps on pushing me around, but I'm still my ground. And I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out. I said, hey, I'm gonna stand my ground, and I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out. I said, hey, I'm gonna stand my ground. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out. I said, hey, I'm gonna stand my ground. You don't won't back down. Oh, I won't back down. Say I won't back down. Yeah, a good song for what we're going through right now, but hopefully we'll be back to playing music soon. Hopefully at the Creole House.
Absolutely. First time Mr. Tommy gave us back. We booked in a few weeks. I don't know if we'll be open by then, but if so, we'll be packing the house.
This is a new test.
Round it down on the ground, counting on you. I see something I just had a little. I told me you should steal the caution. I said go ahead and get on that. blue-eyed. I'm about to bid my heart goodbye. Well, and all she knew was gonna buy my minute. Take me in the car and around. I guess I was really in it, 'cause I just shouted out above the crowd. And I said, hey, pretty lady, won't you give me a sign? I'll give you anything to make it all mine. Give you anything to leave to make it call. Well, I've seen anyone like so fine, and I gotta have to take a one on kind. Going once, going twice, so to the lady in the second row. She's a 9, she's a 10, I know. She got ruby red lips, blonde hair, blue eyes. I'm about to bid my heart goodbye. Well, we found on the auction block, she stole my heart away. We still talk about where we met that day. When I said, hey, pretty lady, won't you give me a sign? Give me anything to make it all mine. Do you didn't and did you back and call? Well, I've never seen anyone so fine, and I gotta have to see the one of a kind. Going once, going twice, so to the lady in the long black dress, she stole my heart and it was no contest. Ruby red lips, blonde hair, blue eyes. I did my heart goodbye.
Yeah.
Little Garth Brooks. A little new one we learned over this quarantine.
That was sweet.
Yeah.
Job right there, Jordan.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if I was going to remember it or not. Like I said, I just learned it. Can't play music anywhere, so you might as well try to learn some new songs. So when you do play music, have a little something fresh. But a little tribute to one of the guys I like, Joe Diffie. He passed away. I grew up around my grandpa. Always had a bunch of John Deere tractors, so I always liked to sing this song. It's called John Deere Green. We were fun kids way down in Dixie, met in high school in the 60s. Everyone knew it was love from the start. One July in the midnight hour, she climbed upon and walked town, stood on the rail, painted a 10-foot heart. In John Deere Green, on a hot summer night, he rode Billy down Bloodshot Lane. It was steep but high, in the whole town said, oh, Joe Diffie. Starting way back in third grade, I used to sit beside and lose. Pink dress, matching blue and her ponytail. She kissed me on the school bus, so me not to tell. Next day I chased around the playground, across the monkey bars to the merry-go-round. And nearly I caught passing me a note before the teacher took me. I read that she wrote, "Do you love me? Do you want to be my friend? If you do, you know me. Take me by the hand. If you want to, I think this is how love works. Yeah, yes, I know." Grown up, but she's my wife. Still like to kiss the stars in her eyes. Ain't much changed, I still changed in the new. Up and down the hall, around the bed in the room. Last night I took her out in a white limousine. 20 years together, she still gets to me. Can't believe it's been long ago. It all started. It's a little road. take me by the hand if you want to. Hey, this is how I go. Check yes or no. Check yes or no. Check yes or no. Check yes or no.
Yeah.
Don't be taking nobody by the hand right now. Just
No,
wait,
no.
Wait till all this is over.
Oh,
You do
bump a little elbow, you know.
Fist.
Hey, how you doing?
The Germans.
And just stay on it. Stay back. Stay back. All right. Sounded pretty good at it. I got you. Come back on that horse. What?
I feel a little rusty, but put on my blue suede shoes and I'm boarding the plane. Touchdown in a land of Delta blue, middle of pouring rain. WC Handy, won't you look down over me? 'Cause I've got first class too. I'm as blue as a boy can be. Walking in Memphis, I'm walking with my feet 10 feet off the bill. Walking in Memphis, do you feel the way I feel? Song goes to Elvis, Union Avenue. Right on up to the gates of Graceland, and I watched him walk right through. Security ain't sealed, it's covered around his tomb. There's a pretty little thing that's waiting for the king down in the jungle room. I'm walking in Memphis, walking with my feet 10 feet off the bed. Walking in Memphis, do you feel the way I feel? Without catfish on the table,
Right here at the Creole House, y'all.
without gospel in the air,
Might be right next door.
river and green, he'll be glad to see you when you haven't gone. You got a prayer in there. New York plays the piano every Friday in Hollywood. Took me down to see her, asked me if I would do a little number, so sang with all my might. She said, tell me, are you a Christian child? I said, bail my hair tonight. I'm walking in Memphis, walking with my feet 10 feet off the bed. Walking in Memphis, do you feel the way I feel? Walking in Memphis, walking with my feet 10 feet off the bed. Walking in Memphis, do you feel the way I feel? put on my blue suede shoes and I boarded the plane. Touchdown in the land of the Creole house in the middle of the pouring rain.
Hey, yeah.
People say I'm no good, I'm crazy as a loon. I get stoned in the morning, get drunk in the afternoon. Kinda like my old blue tick hound, I lay around in the shade. I ain't got no money, damn sure got it paid. 'Cause I ain't asking nobody for nothing. I can't get it on my own. You don't like the way I'm living. It's a lean, slow, hair, country boy alone. You got a crazy man talking on TV, putting out rock and roll. You asked me to send a donation to see the world about my soul. Said Jesus walked on the water, and I know this is true. Times I think that old preacher man like to do a little walking too. I ain't asking nobody for nothing. I can't get it on my own. You don't like the way I'm living. It's a lean, slow, hair, country boy alone. Oh, there's poor girl wants to marry, rich girl wants to flirt. Rich man goes to college, and those poor folk go to work. Rock girl wants another drink of wine, politician wants to vote. I don't want much of nothing at all, but we'll take another toll. 'Cause I ain't asking nobody for nothing. I can't get it on my own. You don't like the way I'm living. It's a lean, slow, hair, country boy alone. I said you don't like the way I'm living. It's a lean, slow, hair, country boy alone.
That's it from the Creole House. Lieutenant Jordan Davin, Marty Porcher playing for us tonight.
There is a wide variety of historic architecture in this region, but one of the most important threads running through it is the Creole aspects of it. And when I say Creole, that requires some definition because there are many different meanings, connotations of the word Creole that are applied to everything from food to language to music to people. So when I say Creole in terms of architecture, I'm talking about what's really the colonial meaning of the word, which is born here, of this place, but with ancestry from abroad, from Europe, from Africa, from both. So it's really something that's of this place, and you can see that in the architecture.
There's no one single design of a manor house, okay? The manor houses began to appear at the end of the Spanish period, Whitehall Plantation, St. James Parish, one of the first, the Boulanger family. And they go all the way up to the end of the antebellum period where they're being constructed. Well, that period, that's a 60-year period, 70-year period. Architecture changed, design changed. So there's no one single plantation house. They're big, other than saying they're big houses, but the designs change through time. And so if you look at the plantation houses, the earliest ones are going to follow the French colonial style. Sometimes I've heard it referred to as the Caribbean style plantation house.
One of the national styles that had a huge impact architecturally on the antebellum architecture of this region is the Greek Revival style. And it is the columns of the Greek Revival style especially that are really associated in the American imagination with the ideal of a plantation. This is sort of what we have in our mind's eye when we think of a plantation. But interestingly, in this area, the Greek Revival style did not completely wipe out the Creole design elements. So behind many of those columns are still Creole plans. Greek Revival architecture at the time in the United States was associated with democracy and with Greece. However, you see the obvious contradictions between that and a system of enslavement. In the plantation landscape, the Greek Revival design influences, and specifically the magnificent columns, really worked effectively to articulate the wealth and the social status of the owners. So people who would come down the river and see all of these plantations really witnessed this parade of magnificence that exuded the wealth that was being gleaned from the growth of sugar in this area with enslaved labor. Buildings were often constructed mostly by enslaved people, but some of them would have very specific skill sets. And you can see that in the construction of the buildings. These are highly detailed, finely crafted buildings that required an acute knowledge of the building craft.
These structures are of historic significance. Many of them had historic events take place on them. But they also reflect upon our culture, and for good and bad, okay? You can't visit some of these grand houses without getting a deep understanding of the institution of slavery, of how part of the population lived in an elite status, and large numbers were out in much lesser considerations.
I think one of the best ways we can really encounter our history and begin to experience it is to be in the places that were built by generations past.